the panelists that we have. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Everybody see that pretty good?
Looks good.
Perfect. Welcome to the Master Agency, Cornerstone Master Agency call. This is where we house the Beaudry Life Group, Oriard Financial, and Hoyt Family Financial, along with Cornerstone, of course. Um, Today we have our top and elite producer panel with Anthony Mendocino, Tim Penso, Amber Pearson, and Giovanna Mitru. I'm excited to talk with them and them pouring into us. This is our agency leadership. So we have our operations staff, whom we love. Shawnee Simons, Betty, and Trevor. We have a Vina May, our agency owners here. So if you guys need any help with anything, you guys know who to talk to. You know who to reach out to. You have a lot of support here. If you are in pre-licensing right now, there's really only four things that we want you guys to focus on. So in pre-licensing, you really just got are focusing on getting through the licensing course. You want to spend about 1 to 2 hours a day, at least 1 to 2 hours a day, studying for your test. And in the live dial room, you want to spend those hours in the live dial room, kind of getting to know people, getting to know the culture here. Plugging into calls is really important. That's what you're doing today. Scheduling your fingerprints and your exam is obviously super important, and Shawnee can help you do that. She runs our Future Agents Academy, along with live training once or twice a week to help you guys with test prep or studying or scheduling fingerprints and exams. So if you are not in the Future Agents Academy chat, make sure you join. And Shawnee can help you with that. And then also associating with the agency. So being plugged into the chats, being plugged into the calls, all that stuff, getting to know the team and culture is all very, very important when you are in pre-licensing. Here's the Future Agents Academy. If you are not a part of that chat, go ahead and scan this QR code and request to join. And we'll see you in there. This is our weekly call schedule. So Saturdays, this is day one of the week, every submit week. And so we started off as a team with our master agency call. Tomorrow we have the Danny Young call. It's not on Zoom. It's just a phone call you dial into, and it's one of my favorite calls of the week. We have our new advanced market training on Mondays. Tuesday is our larger master agency call. So that's going to be with the entire McManaman agency. And then, of course, Wednesdays is our national call with our founders. Thursdays, we have back to basics. This is really geared for anybody within their first 90 days of the business, along with our corporate overview. So if you know anybody or if you just yourself need a little bit more understanding of what this opportunity can really do for you and how this opportunity is structured for you, make sure you tune into this. Bring any friends, any family that has questions, anybody that is maybe a little bit curious about doing this with you, bring them on board to this corporate overview, and we can help put that vision out there, cast that vision for them. And then Friday, one of my favorite calls of the week is the Mortgage Protection University call. If you are struggling to submit the at least 5K a week, but really an average producer is submitting about 7,500 a week, then you should be attending this Mortgage Protection University. And then Monday through Friday, we have our accountability call, high challenge, high accountability at 6:30 in the morning Pacific Standard Time. And then right after that, we meet in our breakout rooms to do individual trainings. Tuesday through Friday, I have my coffee and case prep at 7 a.m. Stay in the breakout room after the accountability call, and I'll help you with case prep. We want to make sure that we're getting everything tuned in and dialed in before your guys' appointments each day. And this is the accountability call that I was just talking about. If you missed a training, that's okay. We record them as we're recording this one. Go ahead and scan that QR code. We have a new YouTube channel. You can follow us on YouTube and catch any recordings that you may have missed. It is brand new, so we only have a few recordings on there, but it's going to grow as we grow, and you guys are going to be able to catch all of that there. And then, of course, make sure you are registered for Ignite. If you are not registered already, then you are missing out. We are doing this QR code is to submit a job form to let us know when you're going to be arriving. Our agency is doing a dinner, an event for Cornerstone Agency on the 15th, and we want to make sure you are there. But it is going to be capped. We are only able to bring about 30 or 35 people. So make sure you fill out that job form and you let us know if you're going to be there and RSVP your spots for you and your significant other. And if you don't have your ticket, reach out to your mentor. They should be able to help you get one. March 15th through the 19th in Dallas, Texas. Also, room blocks are available. Make sure that you guys are getting the room blocks to the hotel. The host hotel still has some rooms available. We need to get those rooms taken up, guys. So if you don't have a place, if you haven't gotten your room yet or like an Airbnb or anything, then make sure to use the host hotel. Super important. All right, new writers for February. Congratulations to Demi Jones. She wrote her first three apps day one. That is what we shoot for. If you're in pre-licensing, be thinking about who your first three apps are going to be on. We want you getting in those first three apps day one because it's going to help you get closer to qualifying for your SLO. You got to submit 6 apps to qualify for an SLO. You have to have an SLO to be successful here. So getting those first three apps is going to teach you how to write an app, how to submit it into Opt and Airtable. It's going to help with those carrier contracts, and it's going to also get you halfway to qualifying for your standing lead order. And Demi Jones got it in quick. So congratulations, Demi. Also to our other new writers for the month of February. Proud of you guys and welcome to the family. Beaudry Bay Shop.
All right, bit of a light week for us guys, but week 3 of 4, just over 2K for the week. Those riders were Nicholas Marino. Super pumped for Nicholas. Wrote his first application, cold market sale. Great job, Nicholas. Big things are coming for you, buddy. And then I threw in an app as well for 1866. Month to date, we're at 21,815 on 7 riders, 2 new riders, 17 applications. Let's go. We got some work to do, guys, but great job so far.
Yard Bay Shop, week 3 of 4, 6,762 with 2 riders, 7 apps. Month to date, they're at 25,000 with 6 riders. One of them has been new with 22 applications total. Last week, riders were Spencer Lazar with 1989, 2 applications, and Brett Bernesh, 4773, coming in just under that 5K with 5 applications. Congratulations, Team Yard. And then Kelly Hoyt.
Good morning. Week 3 of 4. We did 17,673 with 4 writers, 1 new, 17 total apps. Month to date, we're at just under 45 with 5 writers and 41 total apps. Nicole Hall put in one with or at 720. Alma put in 2510 with 2 apps. Shang at 6,039 with 6 apps. And myself with 8,405, 8 total apps. Go team.
This is amazing. Put in the chat, put a one in the chat if you guys want to build an agency, one where you have gotten competent enough to write 8 to 10K a week on your own pen, and you're building people out, building an agency and building your agents up to be writing $6,000 a week along with you. Because we're gonna be blowing this building thing up here over the next few weeks, especially preparing to get into Ignite. So if you put a 2 in the chat, I want you to reach out to your mentors also and say, what do I do next? How do I get there? Put me on. Like, put me in, coach. That's what we want to see from you guys. Cornerstone Base Shop, week 3 of 4, 7,997 with 6 riders. One of them was new. Congratulations, Demi, on 12 applications. Month to date, we're at 21,287 with 26 total apps. And then I'm just going to go over top 6 because I can. Tony Dolagowski, $90 on 1 application. Demi Jones, $539 on 3 apps. Myself with $1,006 on 1 app. Vina May Manawis, the Mike Queen herself, 1925 on 3 applications. Dagan Sabaka, he's been here for like 2 seconds, you guys. 2156, also hit his slingshot to 85% in his first month of dialing. I am so stoked for the way he's going to blow this thing up with us. 3 applications. And then Sarah Pikarski, I just love seeing her name in lights. 2281 on 1 application. Congratulations, Team Cornerstone. And then as a master, last week we did 35,281 with 14 writers. One of them new on 38 apps. And month to date, we're at 113,000 with 25 writers. 4 new on 106 total applications. Top 5, Sarah Pikarski, 2281. Alma Hernandez, 2510. Brett Bernesh, 4773 on 5 apps. Shang Hernandez, she's getting real comfortable in that first in second place position, 6,039 on six apps, and Kelly Hoyt, 8,405, leading the agency from the front this past week on 8 applications. Congratulations, Cornerstone. Super stoked for us. It's Saturday, which means it's Battle of the Bells, you guys. Put a 3 in the chat if you're hopping into the dial room right after this. And you're going to be setting some appointments and you're going to be beasting it out, trying to get the most bells to win that $100 lead credit. Right? I'm excited. The agent that sets the most appointments today, and we end that playing period, I think at like 9 p.m. Pacific Standard, because that's the latest that you can dial, really. So 9 p.m. Pacific Standard, whoever has the most bells in the chat, you got to post your bells in the chat for it to count. Whoever has the most bells in the Cornerstone Agency chat is going to get a $100 lead credit. So make sure you're playing to win here. And then, of course, the reason we're all here is the top and elite producer panel. I am so stoked for this. Can I get a host to pin our speakers, please? I'm so stoked for this to hear. I mean, Amber Pearson, she got from brand new agent to top producer and agency owner in 7 months, you guys, working part-time. I cannot wait to hear from her. Anthony Mendocino, Tim Penso, Giovanna, Mitru, all of these people are beasts in what they do. And I'm just excited for them to come pour into us. So let's go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing my screen to get them pinned. Got Mendo. Oh, I like that picture. Is that a Mustang wheel, Tim?
Ferrari.
Ferrari? Oh, I don't know cars, but it's a cool picture. All
Hi,
right.
good morning,
Where's
everybody. How you
Giovanna?
doing?
Let's see here.
I'm brand new at this, guys. Sorry, I'm trying to find Giovanna.
Girl, where are you at?
Can you see me? Can you hear
There
me?
we go. There we go. Thank you, sis. Okay. Welcome, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us and coming to pour into us. How's everybody doing?
Feeling good.
Awesome.
Good,
Excited to
good.
be
I'm
here.
gonna go around and I'm just gonna have you guys kind of introduce yourself a little bit. So let's go ahead and start with Amber because she's the first person I see. Do you want to share with us, who are you? Where are you from? A little bit about your background and like what brought you to Symmetry?
Sure. Well, full transparency, I wasn't actually looking to, become a career life insurance agent. Put a one in the chat if you're like, I wanted to grow up and be a life insurance agent when I was older. There's probably going to be 0 ones. So yeah, not one, -1. So for me, I came across both my mom and I together came across Facebook posts that Jim Larson had been posting, watched for a little bit, and then ultimately decided why not. I've always been the type of person that had done kind of multiple things, and I was in college at the time, or just graduated college. So I decided to get curious enough to just ask a little bit more and decided to get licensed because why not? I thought it would be a great way to make some additional money on a part-time basis around the full-time job that I had as operations manager and estimator for my family's drilling corporation doing like water wells and underground construction. So that was my background. And the job, it paid the bills and it was great. But I also was maybe borderline having panic attacks a lot of days. And I knew ultimately it wasn't going to be fulfilling for the type of lifestyle that I knew I was going to want down the line. So I just got curious enough to see what this could be. And yeah, I pink slipped my boss, which was my mother, and in the chat she just said she fired me. There's still discussion about that. I was very unemployable though by the end. I will give her that. So
I
yeah,
love it. So how long have you been with Symmetry?
2.5 years now. Yep, and
Awesome.
those first 6 months were part-time.
Wow. And what would you say is like what is your best month and also like your all-time total APV?
For personal production capped was 42,000. And I will also say that that was in December. So for those of y'all that pull oh, it's summer, nobody's buying insurance, or oh, it's Thanksgiving or Christmas, nobody's buying insurance. That's a story you're telling yourself. There are a lot of people buying insurance in those months.
That's a
So
good word. That's a good word.
yeah.
And just really quick, what would you say is some of your like biggest struggles early on?
Ooh, early on, I mean, I had the typical struggles where, with each stage of the learning curve where it's like, okay, getting people on the phone long enough, getting people to actually show up to the appointment, getting people to close. But I feel like I condensed so much activity into a short amount of time that I never stayed stuck there for that long. So for me, honestly, my struggles early on were moving at a pace that was going to be sustainable for the long term because since I was part-time, I knew that I was going to have to do as much as I could in the windows of time that I had available. So for me, it was after becoming full-time, creating a sustainable schedule and pace that I could actually move forward with and still hit my goals, but also not drive myself a little crazy, honestly.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. Anthony, I see you next. What about you? Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about yourself. Where are you from? What's your
Okay.
background before SFG? And really, how long have you been here with us? What brought you here?
Cool. Thank you for inviting me to the call. It's an honor to be on your call and to be
Oh,
with other people. It's awesome. So I appreciate it. Guys, my name's Anthony Mendocino. I'm an agency owner and top producer, live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Prior to Symmetry, I was 20 years in sales. I worked my way up from like entry-level sales position, stayed with the same company for 20 years, left as vice president of sales, grew with the company. It was a cool experience. It served me well during the time. But with every promotion, it was just less time for me, less time for my family. I felt like I was like, like losing the game, losing life. I think Brian Delaney said he was broke on time one time, and that kind of summarizes how I felt. Living out of a suitcase, and with every promotion and every title, it was just like less of me, less of my family, less of the things that were important. So that's what brought me here, like a Google search of opportunity to have it all, right? To have culture, to have time, to have income. And I found an Ashley Tar video, and it felt like it was speaking directly to me. So interviewed, and 5 years later, here we are. So that's a little bit about my background. Was there a follow-up to that, Sierra?
yeah. What is your best month in personal production? And also, what have you done all time APB?
So best month, I think, and it's like roughly around like say 45, 46K
Okay.
personally, and then all time is like between 1.5, 1.6 million.
It's amazing. And you've been here, how long have you been here?
5 years.
That's amazing. Awesome.
Thank
And
you.
what would you say is, most of our agents on here are newer within their first year. What would you say was one of your biggest struggles early on and what did overcoming that look like?
Biggest struggle early on, I think like two things. One is just a mindset shift, right? So going from 20 years as an employee, where you start to have you start to develop an employee mindset and kind of breaking free from that, and then coming here and trying to develop the self-employed or business owner mindset. So I think that was one, trying to improve your tolerance around say risk, investing, things like that. And then the second would be the schedule, like mastering your schedule, like being like super disciplined with your schedule. Again, being an employee, 20 years, there was routines a lot of the day. You had open time to put out fires. Here, you had to be laser focused on your schedule to win here. So I would say
Yeah,
those are the two things.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kim Penso.
Hey, hey,
Hi.
good morning, everybody. How we doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Let us know a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What were you doing before this and what really brought you here?
Yeah, Tim Penso, Director Brian White. So I've been here. I got my license when I was 20. I worked at another company before this. I'm 31. I'll be 32 in like 14 days. So I started when I was in like kindergarten. But I was working retail. Well, I went to traditional route. I went to school to back when it wasn't so controversial to say, but I was going to school to be in the FBI. I wanted to be a federal law enforcement officer. Went to college, had a 10-page paper on that, and I found out that they had the highest suicide rate and divorce rate.
Wow.
And so I got my paper back. I got an A on it, and then I dropped out like 3 days later. So I was like, I'm not going to go into more debt to be, and I love numbers, love statistics. I was like, the probability of me being miserable is pretty decent. And the max salary at that time, the director was making 160K a year. And it's funny because I made 169,913 my first year here. But yeah, so I was kind of going down that route, and then when I dropped out, I was in retail. I was working at Michael Kors, making 11 bucks an hour selling handbags. I was working at GNC on my days off. Then I was just working 7 days a week retail. And then my roommate found the insurance industry. He, yeah, he recruited me into the business. But I was at Globe Life before this for 2 years. And yeah, I left there when I was 22 and Googled insurance companies with leads because I knew that you needed a good lead system unless you wanted to sell to friends and family. And I just didn't want to, me personally at that time, I didn't want to be that guy at Thanksgiving that people were like, yeah, don't pass the mashed potatoes to Tim because he's going to try to sell you a policy. Uh, but yeah, what other questions did you have in there?
Yeah. So what was probably your biggest struggle when you first got here or first got into the insurance industry, and what did overcoming it look like?
I mean, I was really bad. I mean, I was like, I was young, I was 20 and I didn't know who was going to take me seriously. I started in a class of 35 people, and it was just demoralizing because I'd have to come to class every single day, and I was the only one that did not make a sale. And everybody made their first sale their first week with their manager, and it took me 4 weeks. And every day I'd come in and they'd say, hey, did you make a sale? Did you make a sale for so like freaking 4 weeks? I had to say no. And it was just demoralizing.
Yeah.
I was just like, this, all the evidence is showing this is not for me, and but yeah, so that was the hardest part, just, being demoralized by that. But yeah, my wrestling coach used to say, you have to be the nail before you can be the hammer. You have to take a beating. The first year I wrestled, I remember I lost every single match the first year I wrestled.
Wow.
Like I went like 0-19 in the seventh grade, right? So, but yeah,
So
yeah,
you've learned how to get back up time and time again.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
it.
I think I missed the question.
No, you're
I don't know
good.
if
You're
you want
good.
to. Okay.
Giovanna, how you doing?
Hi guys, thanks for having me on. I
Thanks
appreciate
for
it.
coming,
I,
sis.
I stole Brett Beaudry for a team call, so I had to give it payback.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What's your background? What did you do before Symmetry, and what brought you here?
So I'm originally from Ohio, but I currently live in North Carolina. I had to get out of the cold. So I'm in North Carolina now. Prior to coming here, I had a entrepreneurial background. I owned a chiropractic clinic for about 6 years.
Wow.
Found myself working lots of hours and feeling like I was the least paid person in the clinic, just because there was so much overhead. And then I ended up getting, at that point, I was kind of considering everything, whether I should sell the clinic or keep it. And I ended up meeting my amazing husband, Mickey. And we got married, decided to have children. We struggled through that a lot. So finally decided we were going to go seek some help. So we went through about 4 rounds of IVF, finally got pregnant, had my miracle boy. And then at that point, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I need to be here with him. So somebody introduced me to the network marketing space. And I thought, okay, let me start doing this on the side. Ended up growing that business over 5 years. But right when COVID hit, my business took a very big dive. Nobody wanted skincare during COVID. Um, so I started looking at other businesses online. And my very good friend who lives in Boston called me and said, you need to take a look at insurance. I was like, heck no, that sounds absolutely boring. I'm not going to do that. There's no sexiness in that. And she said, no, really, just take a look. I think you're going to find that, that you love helping people and it's a really purposeful work. And so I did. And for the more that I looked into it and jumped on calls like this and hearing other people making it happen from home, that was the big key thing for me. I decided, okay, I'm going to take my test and see if I pass. And I ended up passing by the skin of my teeth. And then I just jumped in and started to follow the process and stayed coachable. And a year later, I made about $138,000 my first year in this business. And I don't ever say that to brag to people. I say that because I knew absolutely nothing
Yeah.
about even what term and whole life meant at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And what was your, oh, this is, Tim, I'm so sorry. This is the question that I forgot to ask. I'll bring it back to you. But what was your biggest APV month? Like, what was your biggest month personally and really all time?
My biggest,
Uh,
oh, go ahead, Tim.
were you asking me? I'm sorry. I think you were asking me, Sierra.
No, you're
Oh,
good.
sorry. No,
Yeah.
Giovanna. No, Giovanna, you got. I'll shut up. I'll shut up.
No, you tell us your biggest one, Tim.
Issued. I don't count some of it, but issued was 38,000.
I love that. So that's net placed, you guys. So not just what he submitted, but what actually got net placed, paid out, issued. That's amazing. And all time, what's your total APV?
When you say all the time, you mean like lifetime APV,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
personal production,
Yes, sir.
like not like 500,
Love
nothing
it.
crazy. Yeah, I know. I
Thank
know some people are like 2, 3 million.
Yeah, Anthony, I think he said 1.5 million. It's
That's
wild work.
crazy.
Giovanna, what about you? What's your biggest month, personal and your lifetime APV?
My personal biggest month was 50,318. And my biggest issue month was 42,000.
I love that. That's amazing.
And then all
Awesome.
time, I'd say I'm at maybe 1.2. That's it.
Jeez, how long have you been here?
Well, I've been here 4 years. So,
1.2 million in 4 years is a lot. Okay, and so what would you say was your biggest struggle early on, and how did you overcome that?
I think for me, because I had done sales for so long in my life, whether it was, I still had to sell my business in the chiropractic as far as get patients, whether that was through attorneys or what have you. Um, I felt like I knew sales because I did sell a lot of things throughout the years of my life. And so coming here, even if I didn't know anything about insurance, I was like, I got this. I got this. I know how to talk to people. But not realizing that this was a whole different beast.
Yeah.
Um, and really putting my ego aside and saying, okay, I need to learn from the people that have gone before me. And not that I thought I was better than them as a person, but understanding that, again, this was a different ball game. And so putting that ego aside, staying coachable and not trying to figure it out all by myself,
Yeah.
and early on, I think I was just like, oh, I got this, I got this. And the more that I was failing those first couple months, I was like, okay, I have to reach out. I have to reach up for help. And I think the other struggle for me was because I was a mom who was just desperate to stay home. We tried so hard to have my son. I was like, I cannot go back to a job. Like I have to be here. And so as much as I wanted to build this business, I also had to build it without sacrificing my family. So that forced a lot of discipline for me.
That's beautiful. I love that. Thank you. Now, the next few questions that I have are kind of rapid fire, and they're more like production based. So I'm just going to go through each of you, and I'm just going to ask really quick questions, and then we'll just go from there. Sound good? Let's start with Tim. So Tim, do you have a specific time of day or week that you prefer to focus on production and building?
Yeah, we kind of have that old school calendar where I mean, it came up in the business here where we dialed Friday mornings and Saturday mornings.
Mhm.
So when I was in the field, I would that's pretty much when I would dial like Friday, Saturday, and I used to love running Sunday appointments. Love running Sunday appointments. Love dialing between 5 and 7 on Sunday. People will answer the phone that you've had for years that never answer the phone. So those are the times I like to dial and run appointments. Monday morning, um, 8 o'clock. I'd like to start to dialing. Between 8 and 9, I would call people and just put them in the calendar for the evenings, for after 4 if I just want to get it done in the same day. But pretty much just then.
I love it. So really dialing on the weekends and running appointments early week. Love it. And
Yeah.
how many hours per week would you say that you dial when you're at the top of your game?
Oh, like the month I did 38,000, I I uh I dialed. I remember the statistics on that. The 8 out of 10 move forward that I showed numbers to, and I spent about 5 hours dialing that month.
The
And my
month?
lead order, yeah, my lead order was 20 MIAs a week.
Whew. Okay, 20
Yeah.
MIAs a week. You spent 5 hours, so maybe like an hour and a half a week, hour and a half a week
Yeah.
you spent dialing.
Yeah.
And 80% of the leads that you sat with sold.
Yeah, yeah, and the show ratio was like I think it was 67%. I have it documented. I track everything like a psychopath. But
I love it.
yeah. That month it was a good month. It was a good month. The show ratio was like unusually high because the month before it was like 50, and then the month after it was like 67 or like 71. I remember I was like, damn.
I
So
like it.
that compounded with 8 out of 10 moving forward and around 70% showing up. It was just that's exactly what yielded a $38,000 month.
What are some of your non-negotiables every single week, Tim?
Uh, there's a lot. I'm a pretty particular person, and I think a lot of I'm sure Amber, Anthony, and Giovanna, I'm sure have their things that they're particular about. Non-negotiables is I will not sit with a one leg. I will not deal with somebody that has an attitude. I'm doing them a favor. They're not doing me a favor. I'm not thanking people. I'm not, if somebody wants to be an a-hole, I'll just be very clear with them. Hey, you filled this form out. You asked for help. I only do business one way, and that's the right way. I have to ask these questions. If you want my help, do you want my help? Like I
Yeah,
have zero tolerance for people being rude or disrespectful to me. Just because
I
you
love
view
that.
me as an insurance agent doesn't mean I'm solving a way bigger problem than just a regular insurance policy. I think people get that mixed up sometimes. Insurance is such a broad statement, right? Like there's so many different types of insurance. I think people get that twisted. And if they knew what we really did and how we showed up when it really mattered, they would speak to us the way that they speak to us. So
Yeah,
I just make that clear up front.
that's a good word. I love that. What is something that you protect aggressively in your schedule?
Uh, Depends on the season, right?
Yeah.
Um, Right now, building right now. I think the most important thing for me is solving for a high velocity of RTWs. So that right now is important to me. When production is the most important at that phase in my life, right? Like you have to make sure that your bills are paid, or like no one's gonna want to follow somebody who's worried about their electric bill or putting five on pump three. So
Yeah.
you have to have a compelling life and yeah, you have to have those. You have to show those results. And no, that was not a Mustang. That is a Ferrari. Just to answer your question, of course.
Amber put me straight. I love it. Okay, what about Amber? Let's go to Amber. Same questions, just kind of rapid fire. Do you have a specific time of day or week that you prefer to focus on production?
I will say, ever since from the beginning, evenings are always great. Fridays, always great. I used to spend every single Friday evening when I was new and really still even now in our workroom dialing, and we made it fun. There maybe was a glass of wine involved sometimes. We just made it fun, and we would have just that massive action all together on Friday evenings, which really brought momentum into Saturday, starting out a whole new week, and then Saturday morning really filling up the funnel on the calendars for Monday. So I really like the Friday, Saturday too, because people are as close to their paycheck and as far away from work on Monday as they're ever going to be on a Friday. So I
I
like
love
Fridays
that too
especially.
because it
Yeah.
speaks to every agent that needs part-time when they first start, right? It's like you have two top producers, elite producers right now telling you that you don't need to be dialing, Thursday afternoon while you're at work at your full-time job. You can be dialing Friday night and really set yourself up for success. Saturday mornings really set yourself up for success. So that's awesome.
Well, and at the end of the day, too, the best time to dial is going to be when you can dial.
Yeah,
Like, get a license in a different time zone. I used to work Alaska and Hawaii when I was working part-time. I would wake up early and work East Coast because I'm in California. So, I mean, it's just how bad do you want it and sacrifice for a season, too.
love it.
Just because the best times are it's going to be when you can.
And what kind of leads are you working right now, Amber?
I work Lighthouse mortgage protection leads primarily, and then some general life digital leads, but I'm pretty much all digital leads at this point. I'll go wild and get some MIBs every once in a while and do some bonus leads. I did that last week, and I actually found 500,000. We're rolling over into an annuity and sold a few of them just this last
Go.
week. So there's a lot of
And how
gold
many leads are you getting
leads
every
still.
week?
I do 15 Lighthouse Mortgage Protection. That's my SLO consistently every single week. But I'll scale that up depending on, my goals. We did a big powerhouse production event this last week, so my lead investment doubled for this last week, and it just kind of depends. But consistently 15 Lighthouse every single week, no matter what.
Okay. What are some of your non-negotiables, or what are some things that you protect like really aggressively in your schedule?
Ooh, in my schedule, I've had a, I've had a really big change the last, I'd say, year and a half. I mean, I ended up uprooting my life and traveled and spent about a year traveling and working this business kind of from all over the country and all over Sprinter vans and different agency owners' houses just bumming around. But for me in this season, I've actually had to get really protective about personal time and sleep. I am very capable of just going balls to the walls and commit like overworking myself to the point where I'm neglecting too many other things in my life, and then everything gets way too out of balance. I think you have to, in the beginning, when you're new and learning, be out of balance and sacrifice for a season. But for me, I use that almost in a self-sabotaging kind of way. So at this point, for me, I have to really prioritize sleep and scheduling personal time because I know I can do the work and I know I can produce results. It's just if I'm not also making sure to take care of myself, my cup burns out and I can't help anyone from that space.
We've had a lot of conversations about that.
Yes, we have had a
Yeah.
lot of
I'm
talk
still a
about
little
that.
jealous you didn't choose Spokane to bum out. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I thought it was
Okay.
pretty good.
And then what about Anthony? Really quickly, specific time of day or week that you prefer to focus on production, and how many leads and what type of leads are you getting?
Start with leads. I do 15 MIAs a week and I do 5 Lighthouse mortgage protection. So 20 total. In regards to dialing, I like to start my dial like kind of for the week on Saturday morning. So like between 8 and 9 a.m. I get started. I book 3 appointments for Monday already prior to coming on the call. I like to front load the week as much as possible. I have 5 appointments for Monday, like going into Monday right now. That feels good for me. I'd like to get another 5 or 6 on Tuesday, and then if I can get my APV in like real early for the week in regards to my own personal production, then I have extra time to like build, right? Like so,
Yeah.
try to divide that up a bit going into the week as a strategy. But if I can get off to a fast start, then I could book more appointments and run more recruiting calls. So front load the week Saturday morning, I would say.
I love it. I love it. And what is something that you protect in your schedule really aggressively, or some non-negotiables for you every week?
I think like similar to what Amber said, I've learned to do this because I can be a workaholic. I can really like put my head down and like be a grinder, like grind it out and get kind of caught up in that. And just to be honest, I think maybe that's why, like, I think when people hear 1.5 million, there's going to be some people that are impressed by that, and there are going to be some people that are like scratching their head and saying, like, why didn't anybody tell this kid to start building?
Mhm.
Right? Like that's too much production. So I think that I've learned to protect like spiritual time, exercise,
Yeah.
my routine, my habit of getting started in the morning. Like there are things that I've learned to protect, and then I'll add in family time to that because the work part's going to come. Like I'm going to get it done. I'm going to do it. It comes natural, but I have to be more disciplined with that stuff.
Mhm. I love it. We're front loading in the very beginning of the week. We're utilizing weekends and evenings to dial, getting our production in early, and we're prioritizing rest, and we're prioritizing family time and rejuvenation to keep ourselves, giving ourselves the ability to be able to do what we do. Okay.
Sure.
Giovanna, what about you?
I'm just going to say ditto. Um, and it's no coincidence that the people that I'm sharing the screen with all of you guys, that you are massive top producers because you've really honed in that schedule. And as far as my times to dial, the thing I share as far as if you're doing a standing lead order, my best tip was build that out on a Thursday night so they start popping in on Friday morning. So you can call them Friday morning, Friday afternoon for maybe a Friday evening appointment. And then like Anthony and Amber and Tim said, then I'm dialing them again on Saturday if I didn't reach them Friday night. And I'm scheduling either an early afternoon appointment Saturday so I can be done with my day. and then pushing everything into Monday and Tuesday. I want to be done after a few days because when you do start building, you know, the money's great, but the goal for most of us is to pay it forward. And the
Yeah.
only way to do that is if we're just focused on just our production, then we're not able to really spend that time helping agents. So the latter part of the week is when I will Wednesday, Thursday, Friday be doing coaching, one-on-ones. We have a coaching room and obviously my recruiting and interviews, etc.
What are some non-negotiables for you every week, Giovanna?
Definitely Amber. Gonna echo what Amber said. And Anthony, I'm a workaholic. Like I could literally work 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
There's just never enough time for me when it comes to work because I do like to produce because I'm not gonna lie. I love the money, of course, who doesn't? And they're lying if they say they don't. So I like the money, but I like serving, and I've definitely come to love serving clients in the retirement arena. I feel like there are so many young people out there that just don't know enough about finances and money. And like that just gives me a high serving them and saying, listen, this is what you need to do. You have nothing here. We need to add here. Like that has become a passion of mine. So as far as non-negotiables, I've had to now it is non-negotiable that I have family time, that I have that on my schedule. Because again, I could be a workaholic. I think the other thing for me has really been the if you guys haven't read The Miracle Morning, is that morning routine. Getting up, the reading, the working on myself physically, going to the gym, and trying to have that all done so I have no excuses throughout the rest of the day to get to work on me.
I love that. I have some questions just to ask you guys individually. I want to start with Amber. What behaviors or mindsets do you think keeps agents stuck here? And like what needs to be cut immediately for them to start winning?
I think this goes even beyond agents and just with people in general these days. People are so resistant to failing and struggling. I grew up riding horses competitively. I rode at a high level competitively for almost 20 years, and I messed things up all the time. And I got told when I messed things up, and it was really obvious when I messed things up, and I put myself in danger sometimes when I messed things up. So for me, I came in and was fine being told no. I didn't really have that resistance to the hard in the beginning when you're getting told no and hung up on and stuff. So I think for most new people in the beginning, it's really like learning to realize that all of the struggle early on is the foundation you're building for your career here in the future. So, like, Jim used to ask me every time I would tell him, "Oh, I didn't close this or whatever." I went like 14 in a row without closing one time, and every time after he would ask me, "Good, what did you learn?" And that was pretty much the only feedback I got was good, what did you learn? And then using that as the opportunity to go back and get better for the next time. So if you can get yourself in the habit of just whenever you come up against something that maybe makes you feel a little disappointed or upset or it didn't go the way you hoped, good. What did you learn from that? And then move on. And I think too, like setting a timeline, you can be upset about something, you can be disappointed about something, but give yourself 5 minutes or 15 minutes, set a deadline, be upset about it, pity yourself, whatever you need to do, throw a tantrum, and then move on, and then get better. I think that, especially in the beginning, is so important just to learn and adopt that mindset of, okay, guess what? Expect it to be challenging and be grateful for it, and then move on.
Awesome. I love it. Tim, what would you say are some like standards or habits that top producers hold themselves to that like most average agents don't?
I think, well, there's a good batch of top producers and elite producers in my agency, and not all of them do this, but like I think the smartest ones do is that you track your data.
Yeah.
I think if you don't track your data, like you may find yourself at the top of the building looking down some days. Because you could be so emotionally driven, and then you could look at the numbers and you could be like, wait a minute, this isn't going as bad as I feel.
Mhm.
So I just think tracking your data is just a super important habit.
I love it. Anthony, what would you say is like, how do you maintain an elite mindset and push through like the tough weeks?
I think that I try to always focus on the big picture, like why am I here, right? And I went back. I said that like my mindset in the beginning had to change.
Yeah.
So if there's a bad day, or you wake up, I said this on a call recently. You could wake up one morning in this business and have like 5K in deposits in one day, and you could wake up to two chargebacks, or like an agent that just quit that you thought was going to be great, right? But you develop like a mindset of that's okay, right? It's business. It's going to happen. There's going to be ups and downs, but we have to think of the big picture. Why are we here? And with when you have all that we have, ownership, the income opportunity, the culture that we have, the ability to learn from people the leadership here, there's going to be a trade-off. And so some days are going to be hard, but just knowing that in the end, it's worth it, right? Like we have to take some risks and we have to be uncomfortable sometimes and we have to push ourselves and grow. But we're playing a big game and there's a big opportunity here. So I always try to keep my thought on that end game, that vision that helps me in the trying times.
I love it. Giovanna, what would you say to the agents that are fearful of failure or like investing money into building their business here?
Girl, you
Oh,
are
I'm sorry,
muted.
you're muted.
We want to hear every word.
Okay, can you
There
guys
we
hear
go.
me? Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
I would say, the reason most agents come here and fear is because they're just not confident yet and they don't have the belief yet. So if you are brand new to things, you've got to definitely lean into the person that you're working with and lean into their belief. And the only way to gain confidence is by repetition and consistency. So if you don't have, you know, if you don't invest in your own future, you're going to end up investing in someone else's at someone else's company or someone else. So, you're already investing somewhere, whether again it's at a job, whether you're investing in distractions, in the comfort zone. Why not invest in yourself and find a way to be creative? Like you hear so many stories of people here, just epic stories of people going to conferences, sleeping on couches. They didn't have the money to get there or, have the money to even be there, but they found a way and they figured it out. When agents tell me I don't have any money, I'm like, well, do you know people in your life, low-hanging fruit, that you could do some practice presentations with and work with them to get yourself some money to invest in your business?
Yeah.
It just amazes me when, there are people that like say that they just can't afford leads. If you knew that you were going to make 10K next week, would you find a way to find $700, $800, $900 to invest in leads? I think the other thing is telling agents, just setting the expectation up front. Like I tell my new agents, yeah, $250, $300 those first handful of weeks. But once you start to skill up, you get through that first 2,000 dials. You've sat 15, 20 appointments, your confidence is going to grow. And that came from the repetition and the consistency daily, not buying a batch of leads in week one and then waiting till week three after you've squeezed all the juice out of it, right? And
Mhm.
waiting 3, 4 weeks to get your leads. Investing in yourself is the most important thing you could do to grow your business. You cannot grow any business with $300. That just sounds insane.
Yeah.
So I would tell new agents, get over that fear by hanging on to somebody that you're working with and to their belief, but just get a bunch of leads. I mean, my mentor, when I started, I said, what's the secret sauce? How can I get good? He told me, Giovanna, go buy 500 leads and dial until your fingers bleed. That's what he told me. And I did. And that was the only way I learned to become confident, to posture myself in a way that I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was talking about. I knew how to overcome objections. So fear is just, I would tell my new agents, fear is like a compass. Okay. Whatever you're fearing, you have to go in that direction.
It's so
It's the
good.
only way you're going to grow. So whatever you're fearing, go for it. Just do it and do it over and over and over again.
Yeah, I
I
love
will
that.
say too, for people that are new, like I looked around and I saw those leaderboards and I was like, if they can do it and they can figure it out, why not me?
Yes.
Just look at that as your opportunity to say, all right, if they've figured it out and they can do it, why not me? And be a little bit optimistically delusional about it in the beginning, I think too.
Yeah,
These are
wild
not paid
blind faith.
actors on these leaderboards, y'all. There's too many people.
Yeah,
He's getting
absolutely.
paid for that.
Amber, what would you say if you can go back to day one, like what would you do differently?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What would you like ignore and what would you focus on sooner?
I would maybe have focused um early, well, and again, here's the truth about me. My biggest learning curve honestly came after I hit agency owner and top producer because my first 6 months I was so all in that I wasn't at a sustainable pace and kind of again uprooted my life after that a little bit. So for me, in the very beginning, I don't know if I truthfully would do anything different because I was really coachable. I was at the top of my mentor's Jim Larson, and I was at the top of his text thread probably more than he wanted. He heard for like he knew what I was doing. He never had to text me and say, "Where are you?" or what's going on, So I honestly don't think I would do too much different because I started building and just sharing right off the bat, all warm market. But after the initial beginning piece, I would have figured out a way to be consistent and hold myself to a higher standard from a consistency standpoint. Because in this business, consistency is everything. And if you're not able to consistently show up both for yourself and for your activity and building yourself, then you're on a weak foundation at that point. So I would say just developing more consistency overall from the beginning and then moving forward was probably the biggest piece for me that I would do differently.
Tim, if somebody was stuck at like, say, under 5K per month, like they're an agent, they're maybe within their first 3 months and they're really struggling at getting over that 5K, they want to start hitting 5K a week. What would you say they need to do in the next 30 days?
Hmm. Um, well, the first place I would go is like I'd be like, well, show me your numbers, right? So I'd like to see what's going on. Probably if they're stuck and they're full time, they can get over 5K. They're probably just not in 5K in APV, right? Just to clarify,
Yep.
right? Yeah, yeah. It's just that's just the lead investment, most likely. Most
Just to get
likely.
more leads. I like it.
Yeah.
Now, I have one last question for each of you. It's like my favorite question in the world. I ask it to every single person that speaks with me or I interview. What is the best piece of advice that you have ever received? It could be business or personal, it doesn't matter. We'll start with Anthony.
Did I give three quickly, Sierra?
Absolutely.
I thought it as like when I read the questions last night. So one thing that my mom told me when I was like maybe 14, 15 years old and I was getting my first job, and my mom said that your work represents our family name. So just to have like a really good work ethic, that was like advice that my mom gave me, and I think it set the tone for me. One is somebody said to me early on as a kid, make sure you start every day with a prayer. Like spirituality is really important. And the third thing is relentless pursuit of personal growth. I think like when I got here, one of the things that I said, like I found home was when I read that in our core values. Like that summarizes, I think, the best advice that you can give somebody.
Yeah, I love that. What about you, Giovanna?
I would say don't be scared to invest in yourself and your business because it's going to inevitably happen if you're consistent and you're doing the reps and you're going to skill up. The other thing I would say is mastering your schedule. I think so many people come in here and they hear about like how successful others are, the money that's being earned, and then they're working it like a hobby and not like a business. So really being intentional in your schedule. And like Tim said, my business changed when I started tracking my numbers.
Yeah.
When my mentors were like, "Oh, what was your week or your month?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. Let me go check." Like I should have had that track and known that number the minute that I was asked. Like, what were my contacts to my dials? What were my appointments to my contacts? Like, that was really important, tracking those numbers, even as a new agent. And then last but not least, like Anthony said, I just have to echo that personal development, um, finding 10 minutes a day to pick up a book and read something that's going to fill your mind, whether it's motivation, whether it's training, like in this industry, we have to pour time into ourselves to get better.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Tim, what about you? Best piece of advice, either business or personal?
Just gotta last.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't quit.
That's it. That's it. All the numbers. I took a 2,600 sample size of data from a managing partner, and I ran it through AI. It took me like 80 hours, and all the evidence shows that you just have to last. That's
Oh,
it.
just don't quit. That's
Yeah,
all.
it's so simple.
Yeah.
So simple.
Imagine that. What about you, Amber?
I would say don't like, and this is going to come across probably wrong in the beginning, but hear me out, is don't be afraid to be a little bit selfish. I had to be a little bit selfish about my time, and especially in the beginning, I said no to a lot of things, and it disappointed a lot of people that I at the time was around, and those people aren't in my life anymore. This business is really gonna, especially if you're new, it is going to really put a highlight on who you are is not going to get you to where you want to go. And more likely than not, the people that you're around might not be going with you where you want to go to. And that's okay. Be selfish about that and don't be upset about it. I had to really learn to detach from that and not be upset that I was disappointing people that didn't have the same visions and expectations that I wanted. And again, that's why personal growth here is so important. I mean, and again, all of us are top and elite producers, and we didn't talk about closing, we didn't talk about handling objections, because at the end of the day, you guys, that stuff isn't. It is important, but it's not as important as the work in your mind, and what you do on yourself and how you really, again, sitting down and figuring out what you want for your life because you only get one. And guess what? You can sit and pretend and be complacent with the type of life that you're living. Like I would say 99% of people in the world do. They say, yeah, this is good enough and settle. Or you can say, this isn't good enough, be a little selfish and go after what you really want.
So good. Thank you so much, you guys. Everybody put something in the chat just to let them know how thankful that we are, them coming and pouring into us. I so appreciate you guys. I don't have words for it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a wonderful day. This was
For
amazing.
having us.
Thanks, here.
Absolutely. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
All right, team. That was recorded. So if you want to replay it, check out the YouTube page and it'll be on there.